Institut Teknologi Nasional Bandung, widely known as ITENAS, is a private higher education institution concentrating on the academic majors of technology, engineering, and design. ITENAS was established on December 14, 1972, and was previously known as Academie Teknologi Nasional. By 1984, due to the growth in number of courses and majors offered, we became officially recognized as an institute. A little bit to the east in Bandung, which was once renowned as the Paris of Java, we stand as a single campus, which is the center of a healthy student lifestyle. Our institution was born from honorable purposes and objectives from the founders of the Yayasan Pendidikan Dayang Sumbi, who believed that every one of us should be able to reach higher education and live a better life. The foundation still keeps its promise to provide high quality and affordable higher education for everyone.
ITENAS sangat menyadari bahwa era globalisasi dan juga revolusi industri bukan hanya sekedar tantangan tetapi juga ancaman yang dapat mengikis jiwa nasionalisme dan juga karakter bangsa. Oleh karena itu, ITENAS menerapkan sistem kredit kemahasiswaan sehingga diharapkan dengan bekal soft skill, lulusan yang akan dihasilkan oleh ITENAS dapat cepat beradaptasi dan juga dapat produktif di lingkungan kerja nanti.
Our institution has 3 main faculties, which deliver 14 bachelor's programs and 3 master's degree programs. All the majors are of various academic disciplines and are primarily centered on engineering, technology, and design studies. In acknowledging the work of our capable students, passionate lecturers, amazing researchers, and attentive staff, we have achieved so much in the past 5 years. Along the journey of education inside our campus, we aim to educate each and every student to be a highly competent professional ready for the workplace. However, as educators, we are aware that the learning process does not end with simply refining professional skills. We also work with our students to grow more proficient intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. The independent spirit and curiosity for learning of our students and alumni is well known, and therefore they are certainly capable of contributing to society. We are an integrated learning space which allows every student to be their best, a culturally knowledgeable, passionate human being, ready to take on life's challenges. We provide every chance to prove our students' passion in science competition, research, seminars, exhibitions, sports, arts, and every performance to truly express whatever character each and every one of them has. This environment of supportive and continual assistance has been proven to encourage our students in their accomplishment at prestigious national and international championships. As independent as we are, our doors are always open for everyone who is interested in creating a better education to contribute more to society and grow together. We have a record in collaborating with many universities, government and private offices, companies, and worldwide industries through our alumni, friends, and relatives around Indonesia and around the world. Today, our alumni numbers over 20,000 people. Our proud alumnus is ready to contribute across the nation and all over the world. The more graduates we have means a greater determination we need to accommodate in order to maintain our qualities. We understand that technology, science, design, and engineering always need the finest in every field of work. Welcome to Institut Teknologi Nasional Bandung. We hope for a better mutual connection with you. Together, with your support, trust and cooperation, we can be an excellent and independent higher institution with the aspiration to build better human resources for the nation and the world.
Tapi kan tidak perlu banyak. Pakai dulu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Our opening ceremony is about to begin. Please have a nice seat and back to your position. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings to all of us. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tuti. It's a precious chance for me to be your Master of Ceremony on this very special occasion, the Seminar International Conference on Green Technology and Design 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next 2 days, this meeting will provide you to plenty of opportunities to discuss, share knowledge and insights. Before we proceed the program today, we'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the Honorable Institut Teknologi Nasional Rector, Professor Melinda Nurbanasari, PhD, the Honorable keynote speaker, Dr. Abdul Salam and Ms. Amanda Katilinio, PhD, the Honorable Mr. Hermanchu from Huawei Indonesia as sponsorship, the Honorable moderators, the Honorable all lecturer and staff of Institut Teknologi Nasional, and also the audiences and seminar participants. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us guidance, happiness, healthy, and mercy so we can attend and participate in this special event without any obstacles. Praise and salutation upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who had brought us to the path of light from the darkness in this life. Ladies and gentlemen, before starting our agenda, let me explain the agenda schedule of this seminar. First agenda is meeting. The second agenda is greeting. The third agenda is speech, the explanation from the speakers, and closing. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the agendas we have presented to you this morning. All blessed audiences, the first agenda is opening. Let's start this agenda by reading Bismillah together. Excellencies and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite to deliver her welcoming speech as Rector of Institut Teknologi Nasional, Professor Melinda Nurbanasari, PhD. Professor Melinda, time is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and students, it is our privilege to welcome you all to our second international conference on green technology and design, or ICGTD 2020, hosted by Institut Teknologi Nasional Bandung, Indonesia. We would like to thank our four keynote speakers, the Honorable Mr. Abdul Salam, PhD, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Change, AIT Thailand, and Mrs. Amanda Katilinio, PhD, Manager the Climate Related Project Indonesia, Mrs. Maharani Dian, PhD, Lecturer at Institut Teknologi Nasional Bandung, Indonesia, and Mr. Herman Zhu, Director, Computing Business Department,
Huawei Indonesia. And also more than 65 presenters who made their efforts to contribute to this conference. Last year, we hosted the first edition of this conference, 2019, in a business as usual way. But this year, we encounter an unusual, unique, and difficult moment due to a worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. This situation brings us here to meet each other virtually. This year conference topic of smart deliberation of green technology and design towards new normal mitigation is delivered with a big hope to rebuild strength to face post-pandemic period by enhancing collaborative research and outreach. We appreciate the hard work of the organizing committee to bring in of more than 70 articles to be presented in this conference, submitted by our international and domestic participants. All articles were then divided into 7 parallel themes: power and energy storage, green holistic building, green and smart automation, smart transportation, infrastructure and environmental planning, intelligent information, and communication technology and green innovation design. Several of them were selected to be published in our national accredited journals, Elkomika and Rekayasa Hijau, and the rest will be published in the international conference proceeding of ICGTD 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we realize current difficult situation, and at the same time, we prepare our readiness to welcome awakening era for better future through increasing research quantity and quality, as well as catalyzing more collaborative efforts. I sincerely hope you will enjoy all of the conference sessions and hope that we can continue learning each other. Someday, we hope to host you all directly in our beautiful campus and city. Thank you all for your presence and participation, and you are the very important part of the conference success. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Melinda, for the greeting. The next agenda, the main agenda, which are waiting for explanation from the first speaker, Dr. Abdul Salam from Thailand, and with Mr. Dr. Engineering Didin Agustian Vermadi as moderator. Well, now to Mr. Abdul Salam and Mr. Didin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the Master of Ceremony for giving me time in these great occasions of our second international conference of ICGTD. Respected Director of Institut Teknologi Nasional Bandung, respected guests, keynote speakers, and also all of the participants. It is our gratitude actually for welcoming you all on this event. And then I would like to thank especially for Dr. Abdul Salam for accepting our request since the beginning when we tried to talk about this conference, and then he accepted in the beginning to be the keynote speaker in this conference. So before we start the keynote lecture from Dr. Abdul Salam, I just would like to read the brief CV of him. So he will deliver the keynote speech on the advances in biomass energy technologies. And Dr. Abdul Salam is currently serving as head of Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Change. And he is also the Associate Professor of Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency at the Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok, Thailand. So he has around 25 years of international experiences in research, consultancy, and capacity building in the areas of bioenergy. For example, biomass, biofuel, biogas, waste to energy, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and climate change mitigation. And he has published more than 100 internationally referred journal articles, conference papers, books, and then presented his research findings in more than 40 countries. He has also 3 years of working experience in the private sector. He also recently he received the award from Thailand Frontiers Research Award for 2016 in engineering. So ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome Dr. Abdul Salam to deliver his keynote speech. Dr. Abdul Salam, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Dr. Dinin?
Yes, clearly, Dr. Abdul Salam.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, very good morning and Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the invitation, and my presentation today is titled The Advances in Biomass Energy Technologies. And as some of you may be knowing, there are so many different types of biomass and so many different types of technologies. So within these 40 minutes, mainly I'm going to discuss about the 3 different technologies and the advances in these 3 thermochemical conversion technologies related to combustion, gasification, and the pyrolysis. And also at the beginning, I would like to highlight the importance of the biomass as the energy source. And some of you are working already in the energy field. You may be knowing as of now, around 80% of our total energy coming from the fossil fuels like coal, oil, and the natural gas. And the balance 20% is from the renewable energy. And also within those 20%, you can see that biomass plays very important role. And traditionally, biomass is used for the cooking. Still around 2.7 billion people still in the world use the biomass for the cooking. And also the biomass is recently, because of thanks to the number of advances made in the different technologies, now biomass is very much used for the other applications like the electricity generation, or the using or producing the biofuel for that matter, like biodiesel, bioethanol, and etc. And of course, in some of the countries, biomass plays very important role. As if I can remember, say for a country like the Nepal, around 70% of their total energy is coming from the biomass. So overall, 10% of the total energy coming from the biomass, but in some countries, it plays very important role. And also the traditionally biomass is used for the mainly for the cooking, and also the heating of homes. And also biomass has many advantages compared to the other fuel. And biomass is the only carbon-based renewable energy source which can directly substitute the fossil fuels. And also biomass is the only fuel which can be converted to all the 3 different forms. You can convert biomass into solid fuel, or liquid fuel, or gaseous fuel. And also biomass is having a lot of bringing other advantages. For example, since you are producing your own energy from biomass which is available within the country, so you can have the energy security, and of course bring a lot of economic prosperous, for example in terms of generating local employment, etc. So biomass is a very important energy source, and being not only the renewable energy, and also considering other benefits it is bringing. So, and also very important to look into the different types of biomass resources. Before we look into the different technologies, it is very, very important to know some specific characteristics of the biomass. Because many times during my experience as a consultant in this area, what I found that many of the recent biomass project failed. Many of the project failed, and many times the technology has been blamed for the failure. But of course, it is not the technology. It is about choosing improper technology is the major cause for the failure, because technology selection is very much depend on the characteristics of the biomass. Many time people see that biomass also solid fuel, and simply they start comparing with the coal, and coal being a solid fuel which is in use for a long time. But whereas biomass has its own characteristics, so it is very important to analyze and to know very well before selecting a proper technology for this biomass. So as you know, the biomass comes in different forms. There are rural resources, urban resources. It can be different agricultural crop residues, or it can be simply the animal manure, or it may be some the wood chips, or it can be some municipal solid waste. So there are different biomass, and also they vary in the shape and the size. For example, you simply take the rice husk, maybe which is around the 5 millimeter, but if you consider the rice straw, which is longer and around around maybe 400 to 500 millimeter long. So the biomass comes in different types and different forms, different shapes and different sizes. So you can't find a one particular technology to use the biomass. And also, more importantly, as I mentioned, many times people think biomass as a solid fuel, and simply they use the some of the technologies which can be used for converting coal into energy to convert the biomass into energy. But then we found that it's a failure, because biomass is very much different compared to the coal. Especially, you can see that biomass the very low density, bulk density is very low. Because of that, comparatively it needs more space for storing, or difficult to transport, or on the other hand it costs a lot for transportation. And of course, as I mentioned, different shapes and size. The more importantly, it is more moisture content, water. So if you consider the coal, maybe 5%, 6%, but in the case of biomass, there is every possibility to have a very high the moisture content. It varies, of course. For example, if you take a rice husk, maybe around 15% moisture content, whereas you take the bagasse, fresh bagasse coming from the sugarcane factory, it is 50% moisture content around. So with the 50% moisture content, you can directly use it. So definitely you have to dry and etc. And of course, biomass is more volatile matter, less carbon, more importantly, lower heating value. Amount of energy in, if you take 1 kilogram of biomass, of course it varies depending on the moisture content. Approximately, if you say around 15% moisture content of biomass, with the calorific value, the amount of energy in 1 kilogram of biomass may be around 15 megajoule per kilogram. But whereas with the bagasse of 50% moisture content, the calorific value may be reduced to around 5-6 megajoule per kilogram. Whereas you take a coal, of course it vary, but with the less moisture content, some of the coal may get even very high calorific value, like even around 25-30 megajoule per kilogram. And of course, as you may be knowing, oil is around 40-42 megajoule per kilogram. So their properties are very, very important, because this is the major reasons for many of the failures in the region, which as far as I know, they selected the wrong technology, because they have not studied their biomass very well before selecting the proper technology for converting biomass into energy. And of course, the major reason, again, there are more than thousands of so many different types of biomass available. So selection of proper conversion technology based on the properties of the biomass is very, very crucial for the successful implementation of the biomass energy projects. Now, again, there are many technologies for converting biomass into bioenergy, or for that matter, industrial products, and there are many other value added products. So nowadays, you can get not only energy, you can get the chemicals, you can get the fuels, and you can get the value added many products. So here this shows the different possible the options. And of course, when you have the biomass, basically we can think about three different conversion. It can be a biological conversion, or it can be thermal conversion, or the chemical conversion. Biological conversion, it can be through the fermentation, where simply the example is the bioethanol production. And of course, it can be like a anaerobic digestion. For example, you have some animal waste which you can go for the anaerobic digestion, biogas, using the biogas digester, then you can produce the biogas. Or thermal conversion, basically where we can go for the gasification, or combustion, or pyrolysis. Combustion, simply you burn the biomass. Gasification is basically, we can say that converting your solid biomass fuel into a gaseous fuel. Then of course the pyrolysis, mainly heating the biomass in the absence of oxygen, so it will not burn, but it will produce, it will come up with the different products. So you may get the bio oil, or you may get some solid fuel, or some the gaseous fuel. So all these are the three different conversion. We call it thermal conversion, gasification, or combustion, and pyrolysis. And of course, we have many other chemical conversion process, especially this can be one of the example is the biodiesel production. For example, producing the biodiesel using say palm oil. So as you can see that compared to those days, now we have many different technologies, and most of us are mainly familiar with the only the combustion technology, where we burn and use the heat for the various applications. As I mentioned, as of now, there are 2.7 billion people, 2.7 billion people, millions of homes. They are using the biomass for the cooking purpose. So that is where around the total, around 7% of the total energy is used for the cooking. So in this particular presentation, as I mentioned, we are not in a position to cover all the different technologies. So mainly I have taken three technologies, or thermochemical conversion process, mainly the pyrolysis, gasification, and combustion. So when you have think about these three different technologies, these are the primary products. So in the case of combustion, mainly you get the heat. Once you get the heat, you can use the heat for any purpose. It can be used for the cooking, or it can be produced for the hot air or hot water, or you can produce the steam and use it for the electricity generation and other various applications. But in the case of the gasification, yes, converting the solid fuel into gaseous fuel. Say gasification is not a new technology, but gasification is being used, but mostly it is used to convert the coal into a gaseous fuel. But what we are discussing here, gasification of biomass, converting biomass into a gaseous fuel. Then once you convert biomass into gaseous fuel, and of course you can use the gas into various application. Of course, you can use it for the heating purpose, or you can use it in the engine, or you can use it in the gas turbine, or you can get the hydrogen from the biomass gasification, and you can use it in the fuel cell, or you can even produce the synthesis fuel. So there are number of applications possible when you convert your biomass into a gas. And of course, there are many other secondary products. Similarly, the pyrolysis, so mostly you can get the biochar, or we call it like charcoal, but lately pyrolysis used for mainly producing the bio oil. So quickly I will go through these three different type of technologies and the advances in these technologies. So now let us start with the biomass combustion technologies. And when we start talking about biomass combustion technologies, as I mentioned earlier, so mostly the biomass is very much used for the traditional application. In the case of mostly the biomass, the combustion. And when we talk about the biomass, the combustion traditional application, mainly the cook stoves. 2.7 billion people are used in the traditional biomass based cook stove. And two major issues with this traditional biomass cook stove, of course, we have a number of issues. The one is these cook stoves are very much inefficient. Sometimes we found that these cook stoves are 5% efficient. 5% efficient, what it means? That means 95% of the energy in the biomass is wasted. So the maximum on an average, we found many of the cook stoves we are using is around 15% efficient. So easily the efficiency could be, even you can think about increasing to 30%, that is doubling the current efficiency of these cook stoves. That means which can lead to save half of the biomass which we are currently using for cooking alone. So think about millions of homes and 2.7 billion people are using biomass for cooking, and all these cook stoves are very much inefficient. So if we go for the improved cook stoves, and easily we can save billions of tons of biomass, of course, which can be the saved biomass can be used for the other energy purposes. And of course, another major issue with this cook stove is the air pollution. Yeah, Dr. Didin is an expert on this. And of course, so now there are a lot of efforts going on and designing and producing improved cook stoves or cook stoves with the advanced design. And yeah, many times we overlook this one, because it is always, we think that when we started talking about advances and new technologies, we simply focus cooking or what is there to do. But I can tell you, this is the one of the area where billions of dollars spent every year in designing and implementing and coming out with the new cook stoves, which can, of course, reduce the air pollution, and also which can have a very high efficiency. And there are a lot of designs. There are recently more than 1,000 different cook stove design came into the picture. And of course, I can't list all these, but I can give some of the examples based on, these are basically based on the new technology. It's not the combustion. So most of the cook stoves are based on the combustion technology, but there are new designs which are mainly based on the pyrolysis stove and gasifier based technologies and rocket stove, etc., which we are very much also working at AIT. And also I put this slides to show you the different types of cook stoves. And again, there are so many different possibilities are there to design different improved cook stoves. But we are mostly familiar with the only direct combustion based cook stove. But of course, as I mentioned, there are operationally, there are different types of cook stoves, or depending on the air supply or with the construction material and type of fuel used. So there are so many different types of cook stoves there. And I have just put these pictures just to show that this has been one of the major research area at AIT. In fact, we had a project where we have collected the different types of cook stoves available in the region. We have collected more than 100 different types of cook stoves available in the region. We have tested for the efficiency, emission, and etc. And also all these have been published, because I'm again highlighting this one. This is the one area where most of the countries and institutes should spend some time to come up with the suitable cook stoves and efficient cook stoves suitable for their country. And now let's move to the other biomass burning system. And also there are many new similar biomass burning systems have been developed recently. You can see that this kind of batch firing system. So this is mostly used for the bales or you can this also you can see cigar burning system for bales, and this auger fed automatic combustion system. So these are the mostly the biomass or type of bales which you can use it, and similar burning system. For example, if you see this one, this is a small system, like looks like a kind of a washing machine, a small washing machine you can keep inside your room and just put the bales, and that will the burn, and the heat generated will be used to produce the hot water. And of course, once the hot water is produced, the hot water could be used for the heating the home and other applications. So these are the some of the latest development and the biomass combustion system, but these are the smaller biomass burning systems. And of course, there are many the new developments in the biomass combustion in the industrial applications, and of course, co-firing is the one, and of course, the co-firing, the existing boilers, which is mainly coal is used, can be easily converted, or the existing boiler can be used with the biomass can be also used in the co-firing. Or there is another technology called the whole tree energy system. As you can see the name itself, whole tree. So normally in the biomass combustion system, if you get a wood chip, then you have to cut into the pieces, say around 2-inch size, then you have to use it. But here we are talking about a system where you can bring on the whole tree and whole new tree, say around 5 meter 10 meter the block, and bring it, and inside you can keep it. And then of course the flue gas coming from the system can be used to dry the fresh tree, and then the whole tree can be used for the energy purpose. So because of that, you can save the amount of energy used for cutting the wood into pieces, so the system efficiency increased. So another development is the condensation heat recovery system. As I mentioned earlier, in the biomass, the amount of moisture content is very high, and also the amount of the hydrogen and oxygen is very high. So once the combustion taking place in the flue gas coming from the combustion of the biomass, there are a lot of the vapor, water vapor. So the whole idea is to condense this water vapor and recover the latent heat, so that that latent heat can be used for the other application. By that, the whole efficiency of the system could be increased. This is specifically applicable for the biomass because of the higher moisture content and also higher hydrogen and oxygen content in the biomass. We get more the water vapor in the case of the flue gas coming from the biomass combustion system. And also another development is the pressurized combustion system. Normally the combustion taking place at the ambient condition, but now because of the pressurized combustion system, now we can go for the first, we can use the pressurized flue gas coming from the combustion system in the gas turbine. Then also we can take it to the recovering the heat that can be used in the steam turbine also. So pressurized combustion system will have a gas turbine as well as the steam turbine. So it is the combined cycle system. So because of that, we can increase the overall efficiency of this kind of pressurized combustion system to around 43%. So these are the some of the new developments. And of course, you can see that there are many other newer developments in terms of the applications of the using the heat. One of the applications which may be very much suitable for tropical countries like Indonesia and Thailand, etc., using this heat coming from the burning of biomass in the absorption chiller system. Simply putting, this is a system using the heat coming from burning of biomass, but you can produce the cooling effect. For example, okay, if you have some amount of biomass, using that biomass, you can cool, you can generate your air conditioning chilling effect. You can come up with your air conditioning system where you don't need the electricity, but you need the heat. So I don't want to go into the much of the absorption chiller system technology, but absorption chiller system technologies where you have to supply some heat to generate the cooling effect. So in this case, easily you can burn the biomass and get the heat and use that heat to produce this chilling or chiller system and chilling effect that can be used to cool the air. Then cooled air can be used to cooling your homes or office and etc. This is one of the technologies now very much getting into the market. Now I see that many biomass fired absorption chiller systems are in place. Those are the some of the latest developments in the case of the combustion the system. Now let me move to the biomass gasification. And as I mentioned, gasification is mainly converting biomass, which is a solid fuel, into a gaseous fuel. And of course, normally depending on the different types of gasification agents, the product varies, but mostly you get the carbon monoxide, the methane and hydrogen, and of course you will have the carbon dioxide and sometimes char, ash and tar and etc. So if it is a air gasification using the air, then mostly you will get a lot of the tar and other things also. So mostly you can use it for the burning and combustion, getting the heat, and heat can be used for the various other applications. But if you go for the oxygen based gasification or hydrogen based gasification, there will be a lot of hydrogen and methane and etc. And of course, once you remove the tar, you can use this produce a gas or syngas for the engine application. You can use this the syngas in the engine to produce the electricity. And this is becoming a more and more famous in this region. I found that the many rural areas where they have a lot of agriculture residues, so the wood chips and etc., they found this is the ideal way to the converting those agriculture residues into energy, specifically producing the electricity. Say easily, if you have some rice husk etc., you can go with a small gasification plant, say 100 kilowatt engine, and you can generate the electricity. And the rural area, you can supply the electricity. And I have recently visited many small gasification system where they simply use the rice husk to generate the electricity and supply many villages in Cambodia. These are smallest system like 200 kilowatt, 300 kilowatt, and of etc. And of course there are many different types of gasifiers exist. And there are fixed bed gasifiers, fluidized bed, membrane bed, and etc. Mostly fixed bed gasifiers, smaller scale, but there are many fluidized bed gasifiers and big size, mostly used in the industry. But many of the small fixed bed gasifiers which I mentioned in many rural areas where they use these gasifiers, mostly fixed bed and small in size. And again, this is not a new technology, but the biomass gasification has been in use for a long time. But of course, we are because of the current interest in the addressing the climate change issues and etc. So now, with the renewed interest in using biomass for more energy applications, now we see that more and more biomass gasification plants are coming up. You can see that this is the wood powered car. So this is the biomass gasification and cleaning system. So using the wood chips, you produce the syngas, and that gas is used for fueling the car. Similarly, here you can see this motorcycle, the smaller one. This is a small cross draft gasifier, kind of, you can use the charcoal to produce the syngas, and that can be used in the engine. And again, this kind of the systems used in early days also. But again, as I mentioned, now more and more interest with the more advanced technologies incorporated. So now let me look into some of the advances in the biomass gasification. The one latest, the advance, the technology is the stage or indirect gasification. So what really matter here is, so in the normal the gasification process, there will be, when you send the biomass into the system, there will be drying, then pyrolysis, and there will be gasification, and also some the combustion. So at least these four different types of process may be happening within the gasifier. But in this particular design, they have separated the drying and pyrolysis. This is separately, or these two are all these processes are done at the different stages. So here, this drying and pyrolysis separately done. So because of that, the amount of tar produced during the process is separated and taken out. So because of that, amount of tar coming with the synthesis gas is very much reduced. So because of the amount of the tar is reduced, so easily this can be used for the engine for electricity generation. So this is one of the advances in the gasification technology. And also this is another one, stage combustion and gasification. Again, the combustion and gasification is separated here. So here, as you can see, that the bubbling fluidized bed is used for the gasification, but whereas again separate circulating fluidized bed is used for the combustion. So the combustion will be taking place in the circulating fluidized bed, and the heat generated from the combustion will be transferred to the bubbling the fluidized bed, where the gasification will be taking place. So the heat will be transferred through the inert sand particles. Now another advances is the integration of the this distributed the pyrolysis and the plants with the slurry system. So the pyrolysis is done in one place, and after pyrolysis is done, and the different plant, and that is transported to the central gasification plant. And by that it can be made more economical, and the transportation cost will be reduced, because not the biomass is not transferred to the gasification plant, but the oil char slurry is transported. So by that way, the system become more economical, to easily you can treat the biomass. So, and there are many new technologies developed recently related to the gasification. One of the important one is the plasma gasification. Especially this can be used for the toxic organic waste. You can see that plasma is formed to the electric arc is very high temperature, sometimes 2000 to 30,000 degrees Celsius. So because of the very high temperature, the most of the biomass, or specifically the toxic organic waste, can be easily converted to the gasification products. And major advantages is the no restriction on the particle size of the biomass, because of the very high temperature. And of course the major disadvantage is the very high energy consumption, because of the high temperature, and also high investment cost. Another new technology is the sorption enhanced reforming of biomass gasification system. So basically, to put it in a nutshell, using calcium oxide to remove the carbon dioxide. So when you have the biomass gasification in the syngas, mostly you'll have the carbon monoxide and the hydrogen, then the syngas can go through another reaction, water gas, the water gas reaction. Then because of water gas reaction, then you will get mostly hydrogen and the carbon dioxide. So now once you, because the carbon dioxide don't have has any energy value, so easily you can remove the carbon dioxide using the calcium oxide. So once the calcium oxide is react with the carbon dioxide, then you get the calcium carbonate, then easily you get the hydrogen. So this is another new technology developed recently. So by this you can remove the carbon dioxide easily, then you get the pure hydrogen. And once you get the pure hydrogen, and of course you can use it for various other application, including the using for the fuel cell and others. And of course, another technology, the supercritical water gasification. As you know, some of you know, the supercritical we talk about when it is reaching the critical point of the water, which is around 374 degrees Celsius and the 221 bar. So this particular the gasification is done at the supercritical conditions. And of course, there are many advances made in the biomass gasification based power generation. We have limited time. Let me go through quickly. And of course, the cogeneration of thermal energy and the power, which I have mentioned a little bit about earlier, small decentralized cogeneration plants or only the power plants. And of course the because of the pyrolysis and gasification based the technologies are used to also produce the biochar, where the in many gasification plants we also get a lot of biochar, which can be used as organic fertilizer. And of course biochar has a lot of benefits because you can use it as an organic fertilizer, so which is helping to increase the yield. And also since it is used as organic fertilizer and left, it is also acting as the carbon sink. So when you go for the organic fertilizer, so you are getting your energy requirement, and also you are getting the organic fertilizer, and also the it is acting as the carbon sink. And of course, and we can, there are many technologies as of now, polygeneration of heat, power, and the hydrogen. You can produce the heat from the synthesis gas, or you can use it for the electricity generation, or even you can produce the hydrogen, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, some of you may have heard about the Fischer-Tropsch synthesis process. So using the Fischer-Tropsch synthesis process and using the synthesis gas, and again, you can produce many liquid fuel, even you can produce the diesel, petrol, etc. using this Fischer-Tropsch synthesis process. And of course, lately, the SNG and the synthesis natural gas or biofuels, which also could be produced from the synthesis gas, which is the syngas, which is coming from the biomass gasification. This is some of the example. Quickly I will put it. You can see that there are number of options available. Once you convert your biomass into through the gasification syngas, so you can get the heat, you can generate the electricity, you can get the liquid fuel, and of course you can get many other the chemicals and fuels through this gasification process.
Apologize, Dr. Salam. We
Yeah,
have 2 minutes remaining time.
yeah, I'm going to wind up. Yeah. So, and again,
Thank you.
I put some of the examples here. You can see that there are many projects are there, and many projects are coming up, especially related to this biomass gasification. So this is the few last slides about the pyrolysis. As I mentioned earlier, pyrolysis, the heating in the absence of oxygen. So you may get the solid fuel or liquid fuel or some gaseous fuel, and of course what you will get is very much dependent on the your heating rate, and also the what is the maximum temperature to which you are heating. And a few latest the advances, one is the multiple fluidized bed is used for fast pyrolysis. So one the fluidized bed is used for the pyrolysis, other one is the combustion, and the heat generated in the combustion is used in the pyrolysis. Another advance is the purification, and of course, this is becoming a more and more popular nowadays. So we call it as a mild pyrolysis, or even we call it as a kind of a roasting. It is not a complete pyrolysis. In the complete pyrolysis, all the water and also all the volatiles will be removed. But here, mostly the water will be removed, but still most of the volatiles will be kept. So because of that, even though some characteristic change, the heating value remain is still higher because of the volatiles are kept, and it is a lot of usages. Easily this can be easily used for the co-firing with the coal or the other purposes. This is becoming more and more popular. So I'm at the end of my presentation. As I mentioned, I have quickly look into the three biomass to energy conversion technologies. There are a number of technologies, but here mainly I will discuss quickly about the combustion and the gasification and the pyrolysis. Combustion technologies we have to look into very seriously, because many times when we say we are using biomass, but our problem is we are using very inefficiently. So easily many of the systems where currently we are using biomass is the combustion systems. Most of these systems are very inefficient. So easily we have to go for the improved efficient system. By that we can save so much of biomass, billions of tons of biomass that can be used for the other energy purposes. Similarly, the biomass gasification is becoming a more and more popular, more advanced technologies available. This can be easily used for the small electricity generation, rural areas, and also this is lately used for producing a lot of hydrogen, and based on the other things like syngas, many chemicals and fuels. So all these the technologies definitely going to play very important role in the future. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Abdul Salam, for such a comprehensive presentations. So during this session, we also open the link for participants for any questions to be addressed to your talk today, actually. So I just would like to read some questions that we have received. The first one, actually, this is from Iwan Juwana, PhD from Environmental Engineering Department. He has a questions on the improved cook stoves. In your opinion, which type of improved cook stove should be suitable for use in Indonesia, actually?
Okay, I mean, there's no one type of cook stoves which we can recommend. As I mentioned, it's very interesting question, because in fact, when I started this research in 1995, long time back, anyway. So when I started doing the improved cook, there was not a single testing facility in Asia. See, everybody now, there are so many different types of people coming out with so many different improved cook stoves. Everyone was saying that okay, this is high efficiency and etc etc. So there was not a single facility to test. So to answer your question, there's not a single answer or single technology. It is very much depend on what is the type of biomass you are using, and of course then based on that only the technology can be decided. That is the simple answer for that one. And
Oh,
of course there are various different types and various the way to design the improved cook stores, and there are many improved cook stores, efficient cook stores are there. But the issue is not the technical. This is again another interesting issue when it comes to the improved cook stores. It is not a matter of technologies. If as a technologist, as a designer, I can come up with the very efficient cook stoves, but the issue is at the end of the day, these cook stoves are used in somebody who's not having any idea, any knowledge on the technology, etc. So it is more of a social issues. How do you come up with the design which is very much user friendly. Anyone, without much technical knowledge can use, and etc. So it's difficult to say one answer for that. And you know that there are many improved cookstoves developed in Indonesia and for that matter in many countries, but many times failed, but because not because of the technology, but they are not user friendly, to put it that way. So you have to design and make sure that they are user friendly. I can give so many examples where those failures happen. So many times, and again, how you are implementing the programs. So many times, many countries simply they come up with improved cook stoves and they give it free. So I had recently done a study in Nepal where they have given freely the improved cook stoves, and after 1 month they went that and checked, out of the 30 household, only 8 household used that one. Others, they thought that, oh, something somebody gave free. They don't believe in that one. They are not don't like the way it is functioning, so they went to the usual way of cooking. So it is, there are many improved cook stoves are there. I already mentioned more than 1000 different types are available. If you are interested, please check the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. This is where billions of dollars used in coming out with the so many different types of improved cook stoves, and you can find a lot of interesting case studies also.
Thank you, Dr. Salam. So maybe I will try to combine the second and the third questions. The second question is from our colleagues from chemical engineering here in ITENAS. There are three technological options of thermochemical conversion of biomass. So which one is the best technology based on the highest calorific value and lowest energy required to process the biomass? And then the third question is, how does the biomass gasification serve in terms of sustainability, both in the short term and long term?
Again, you can see your question, this was a little like a, so
Yeah.
everyone is looking for the easy answer. So there's no single
Yes.
answer, single system. I already say that this biomass is already complicated. It's not even like a coal. So if you say the coal, which is only around 5, 6 different types, bituminous, subbituminous, anthracites. The biomass is, that is the most difficult part. So many different types. I gave a simple example. Rice husk is different, rice straw is different. You can't have a simple technology. So you see that rice husk and rice husk is 20% ash, whereas the wood chip is only 2% ash. Shape is different, size is different, the characteristics different. So there's no simple answer for simple technology. So now, whether pyrolysis is good or gasification or good combustion is good, again, as I said, the output is different. Now, if you want to get the heat and use it for the cooking, yes, okay, and you go for the combustion, or the if you want to get the heat and use to produce the steam, generate the electricity, and of course you can go for the combustion system. Or the gasification is output. You convert the solid fuel into a gas. So once you produce the gas, you can use it for the heating purpose, or even you can go for producing the hydrogen. So different products are there. Similarly, pyrolysis, I mentioned that, okay, you can get the char, biochar, or you can get the bio oil, or even you can get the some gases depending on what you want. So there are different products coming from this different conversion technology. So the first you have to see that what do you need, especially the biomass, because of the low bulk density. Normally, we try to avoid as much as possible transporting the biomass. See, you are in a village, then you know that, okay, what do you have? Okay, rice husk. Then you see that you want to try to use it within the village as much as possible. Then you see that what is the requirement. Okay, do you want to use it for cooking, or you don't have the electricity? Now can we use it for generating the electricity? Then of course you choose the technology. So as I mentioned, which technology, then you have to study the characteristics very well. For example, say you want to generate electricity using the biomass available through the gasification technology. Then if it's a wood chip, then the technology you have to do some changes. If it's a rice husk, as I said, it will have 20% access. Then you have to do some changes in the technology. You can't use one technology for all the different biomass. So there is no single easy answer. So especially biomass, as I mentioned, it's not like a coal, for example. Say now I can put a coal power plant in Bangkok and import coal from the Indonesia, but we don't normally recommend that one. So don't export, don't transport the biomass because it is very costly, and also transportation, at the end of the day you may be using some truck or in the lorry or whatever, which is using again diesel, and you are burning the diesel, which is releasing the carbon dioxide. So you, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you are going for the biomass in the name of reducing the greenhouse gases, but you end up in adding more greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
So these are there are a lot of analysis which I am not talking. And again, Dr. D need to know very well
Yeah.
life cycle analysis, and all those are there.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
analysis are very, very important. Yeah, there is no one answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Salam. So actually, the last one is a request from us. Yeah, do you have any informations maybe about the opportunity for our faculty members to be able to collaborate with your team, or maybe you have some informations on the scholarships, yeah, for our students as well as alumni, yeah, to join the ECC department there in Bangkok.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Dr. Dini. That is why I put my email below, as you can
Yeah.
see, salam@ait.ac.th, easy for you to remember. You are most welcome. As you know,
Yeah.
this is our regional institute. Our mission is to help help the regional institutes. So you are most welcome, especially any student, anyone. Please send me an email. So that is the easiest way. I always check my email, especially student and faculty members. Of course, we do have many ongoing projects where we can think about collaborative research, or we can start some the new projects. And of course, the students about the future possibilities for their masters and PhD studies, you are most welcome. Of course, you can check our webpage for the available scholarship and others, but you are most welcome to write to me directly at salam@ait.ac.th.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Salam. So that will resume our first sessions of keynote speaker uh, session in ICGTD 2020. So normally we have the symbolic events, yeah, to give you some souvenirs, yeah, from Itenas, but unfortunately we could not do it right now. So maybe later, yeah, we will think how to send it to you there in Bangkok, yeah. So due to the time limitations and then strict time in the schedule, so we would like to thank you once again, yeah, to be here with us, to share your vast knowledge in your research area. And we do hope to see you again one day, hopefully in our campus here in Bandung, yeah, Indonesia. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, definitely. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Yeah, thank you. So I just would like to return again to our Master of Ceremony to continue for the next session. Yeah, Ibu Tuti, the floor is yours.
Thank you for Mr. Abdul Salam and Mr. Dini for topic and insight
Ibu
in the
masih mute.
presentation. Okay. Thank you very much for Mr. Abdul Salam and Mr. Didin for informative and insightful presentation. The next one is second speaker. I'd like to welcome Ms. Amanda Katilinio, the PhD, with Dr. Engineering Chandra Nugraha as moderator. Ms. Amanda, time and place are yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Bu Tuti, for your time. And talking about biomass technology and utilization from Dr. Abdul Salam previously, it's very relevant with the climate issue globally right now. And today we already have Ibu Amanda Katilinio, the PhD, as our second keynote speaker. And hello, Bu Amanda.
Morning.
Morning. Nice to meet you again, Bu, after our discussion in Breven last Saturday. Okay, I will introduce Bu Amanda. Firstly, Ibu Amanda now is the manager of the Climate Reality Project Indonesia, a non-profit organization as part of the Climate Reality Project, which was founded by Nobel Prize winner and former Vice President of the United States, Al Gore. Ibu Amanda obtained a Bachelor of Biology from Institut Teknologi Bandung in 1981, Master of Science in Ecology and Environmental Management from American University in 1985, and PhD in Natural Resources and the Environment from the University of Michigan in 1988. Okay. And Ibu Amanda has been a researcher for 15 years, at the Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology, also as the special staff to the Minister of the Environment from 2004 until 2009, as well as coordinator of the Communication, Information and Education Division at the National Council on Climate Change, and other, and today, Ibu Amanda will deliver the topic about the science, technology, and the political dimension of the climate change. And to remind for the participant, if you have any comment, question, input, and other, please be written on the chat room or Slido. The link will be shown on the chat room. Okay, or you can directly ask Ibu Amanda after the presentation if you want. So for now, the time is yours, Ibu Amanda, to present your. Thanks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning. It is a great pleasure to be invited to this second international conference on green technology and design, hosted by Institut Teknologi Nasional. Dr. Chandra also organized a successful pre-event of this conference, and we really had a productive discussion. Now, if you can allow me to be a co-host so that I could share my screen, I would be very grateful. And I wish to thank Ibu Rector, all the participants, speakers, and of course the organizers for this meaningful event amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, hoping we are all staying healthy and safe.
Okay, Pak Nico, can you help? Okay, Bang Amanda already. Yep.
All right. As mentioned by Professor Melinda, there will be 7 parallel session themes under the conference topic. And in line with the setup, allow me to deliver my keynote remarks on the science, technology, and political dimensions of climate change. The reason I chose that topic is to encourage conference participants to see how their actions to address the climate crisis fit in existing global initiatives and explore the opportunities in enhancing education, research, and community service as the 3 pillars of higher education. As mentioned by Dr. Chandra, I'm part of the Climate Reality Project, a global organization founded by Al Gore, and now has 31,000 climate reality leaders in 170 countries from all walks of life, with an age range of 12 to 87 years old. Dr. Chandra is one among the 31,000 climate reality leaders. There are 500 of us in Indonesia right now. Climate reality leaders are those who have been trained by Al Gore and the Climate Reality Project, and they're committed to acts of leadership, which are specific actions we can take to make a difference in the fight against the climate crisis. The mission of the organization is to catalyze a global solution to the climate crisis by making urgent action a necessity across every level of society. This is always the main picture that we use in our presentation. The picture of the blue marble, our only home, taken by the crew of Apollo 17 in 1972. It became a symbol of environmental movement as it illustrates the Earth's fragility and vulnerability. All of our environmental problems occur in that place, and they stem from two main categories of human activities. First, the use of resources at unsustainable levels, and second, the contamination of the environment through pollution and waste at levels beyond the capacity of the environment to absorb them or render them harmless. In my interaction with thousands of students, I always say this is the basics. Even if you don't remember all the details, at least see the whole picture of the issue like in the slides now. Climate change is an environmental problem on a global scale that seriously affects the very existence of humankind and has increased in magnitude. It is generally recognized that the problems are such that humankind must tackle these problems with all its wisdom. It is also important to differentiate between global warming and climate change, and also to know the difference between weather and climate. You can ask your faculty members or Google to see the difference between the two, because they're usually used interchangeably. They're not the same, they're different. And to understand and advance climate solutions, it is necessary to recognize the sources of emission and nature's means of rebalancing the climate system. This graphic is created by Project Drawdown, a nonprofit organization that seeks to help the world reach drawdown, the future point in time when levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere stop climbing and start to steadily decline. Please focus on the percentages of global emission sources, where 25% comes from electricity and 24% comes from our food system. Most of these greenhouse gases stay airborne, but not all. Natural, biological, and chemical processes, especially photosynthesis, bring some of that excess back to plants, soils, or sea. At present, 49% of heat-trapping emissions stay in the atmosphere, creating rising temperature. And the world is already seeing the consequences of 1 degree centigrade of global warming through more extreme weather, rising sea levels, and diminishing Arctic sea ice. All countries are affected by global warming, but the impacts tend to fall disproportionately on the poor and vulnerable, as well as those least responsible for the problem. As you can see in this chart, there are clear benefits to limiting warming to 1.5 degree compared to 2 degree. 42 million fewer people being exposed to severe heat waves if we put the temperature down to 1.5 degree above the pre-industrial level. There are two main United Nations entities dealing with climate change: the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The UNFCCC Secretariat is the United Nations entity tasked with supporting the global response to the threat of climate change. UNFCCC stands for United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is the political realm of the climate crisis. The ultimate objective of the legal agreements that came from the UNFCCC, UNFCCC itself, the convention, the Kyoto Protocol, and the Paris Agreement, their objectives is to stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere at a level that will prevent dangerous human interference with the climate system in a time frame which allows ecosystem to adapt naturally and enables sustainable development. The Conference of Parties, or COP, which is an annual meeting, also called the UN Climate Change Conference, is the supreme decision-making body of the convention. A key task for the COP is to review the national communications and emission inventories submitted by parties or countries. Based on this information, the COP assesses the effects of the measures taken by parties and the progress made in achieving the ultimate objective of the convention. I have been a member of the Indonesian delegation of the UN Climate Change Conference for the last 13 years. Currently, there are 197 parties. It means 196 countries, plus one regional economic integration organization. Why it is a political realm? Because this is where the countries, the parties negotiate issues in groups, processes, and procedures. And the principle is nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. That's why you can see why the progress of the negotiation is very slow, because there are conflict of interest among the negotiating parties, among the countries, and among the groups of negotiators. But how can we participate? How can we use the opportunities to understand more about the UNFCCC and its Conference of Parties? They provide access to virtual participation from all over the world through its website and social media channels. I will put down later on the chat room the website that you can all visit. Global environmental disruptions are set apart from conventional ones in that in a global case, a country that generates pollution is not always the country that suffers from the pollution. Pollution can cross borders, inflicting damage on a wide area. Such are the characteristics of the global environmental problem that its solution requires the efforts of all countries of the world and international agreements to address the issues that have been launched in recent years. In 2015, there are 2 international agreements agreed by United Nations members. The first one is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the Global Goals, with a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, as you can see in the slide, and they're all interrelated. On the Paris Agreement, also agreed at the UNFCCC COP in 2015, its central aim is to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by keeping a global temperature rise this century well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The Paris Agreement, this is very important. The Paris Agreement requires all parties to put forward their best efforts through nationally determined contributions, or called or abbreviated as NDCs, and to strengthen these efforts in the years ahead. This includes requirements that all parties, all countries, report regularly on their emissions and on their implementation efforts. So what are Indonesia's commitment? It's stated in Indonesia's nationally determined contribution. We are committed to unconditionally reduce emissions to 26% below business as usual by 2020 and 29% by 2030. Also achieve 41% emission reduction by 2030 with international technology transfer, capacity building, and financial support. That's why this conference is very important, because by that we can have technical ammunitions to negotiate with countries. And the third one is implement the Indonesia Climate Resilience Strategy. The first one and the second one is called mitigation, and the third one is adaptation. Now, this is the second international entity that I mentioned. The first one was the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And this one is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the United Nations body for assessing the science and technology related to climate change. The IPCC provides regular assessments of the scientific basis of climate change, its impacts and future risks, and options for adaptation and mitigation. It is an organization of governments that are members of the United Nations, or WMO, the World Meteorological Organization. The IPCC currently has 195 members. Thousands of people from all over the world contribute to the work of the IPCC. IPCC reports are assessment of published literature, contributing the body of published literature through peer-reviewed articles in scientific journals and technical publications provides the essential foundation for the assessment. I'm very sure that some of the scientific articles from this conference will contribute to IPCC's work. That's why peer-reviewed scientific journals are very important. Right now, we have maybe about 6 to 7 Indonesian researchers contributing their knowledge and their scientific articles to the IPCC. Again, the IPCC prepares comprehensive assessment reports about the state of scientific, technical, and socio-economic knowledge on climate change. Its reports help to make decisions at COPs of the UN's FCCC. So IPCC is the scientific realm, while the UNFCCC is the political realm. Now, this is the cycle of the IPCC 6th assessment report. They come up with reports every 6 or 7 years. It's about the state of scientific, technical, and socio-economic knowledge on climate change, its impacts and future risks, and options for reducing the rate at which climate change is taking place. The IPCC also produces special reports on specific topics agreed by its member governments, as well as methodology reports that provide practical guidelines for the preparation of greenhouse gas inventories. The synthesis report integrates the assessment report and any special reports prepared during an assessment cycle. I will again put the website of the IPCC for all of you who would like to be involved in the IPCC activities. Now, this is a very interesting illustration developed by Diplo Foundation. Diplo Foundation works to increase the role of small and developing states and to improve global governance and international policy development. Here you can see it is trying to facilitate navigation through the complex maze of climate change related issues. It shows that climate change is interdisciplinary, international, and intergenerational in nature. That's why the climate reality has climate reality leaders age range 12 to 87 years old, because you can see the subjects, the topics that are involved in climate change activities, and everybody, whatever their background is, could be involved with this. The UN Climate Science Panel, or the IPCC, has said that human-made carbon dioxide emissions need to fall by about 45% by 2030 compared to 2010 levels, and reach net zero by mid-century to give the world a good chance of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoiding the worst impacts of climate change. Net zero means that any emissions are balanced by absorbing an equivalent amount from the atmosphere. You remember the drawdown graphic earlier, and it shows how you can achieve the net zero emission. In order to meet the 1.5 global warming target in the Paris Agreement, global carbon emissions should reach net zero around mid-century or 2050. There are two important initiatives on efforts to this net zero situation. The first one is the World War Zero, and the second one is Race to Zero. The World War Zero is initiated by John Kerry, the former Senator and Secretary of State, who's just been appointed by President-elect Biden to be United States President's Special Envoy on Climate Change. He formed a new bipartisan coalition of world leaders, military brass, and Hollywood celebrities, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Ashton Kutcher, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sting, Emma Watson, you name them. They were meant to push for public action to combat climate change. Why the name World War Zero? It is supposed to evoke both the national security threat posed by the earth warming and the type of wartime mobilization that Mr. Kerry argued would be needed to stop the rise in carbon emission before 2050. So the star-studded group, the celebrities group, is supposed to win over those skeptical of the policies that would be needed to accomplish that. We know that there are climate change deniers. The Race to Zero is a global campaign to rally leadership and support from businesses, cities, regions, investors for healthy, resilient, zero carbon recovery that prevents future threats and creates decent jobs and unlocks inclusive, sustainable growth. And this one is also from Drawdown. It is a framework for climate solutions. If you see the whole picture, it is not quite difficult. You can just reduce the resources, the sources of emission by bringing emissions to zero. And the second one, you support the sinks or uplifting nature's carbon cycle. And the third one, of course, society is important. We need to foster equality for all. Now, where's the place of technology? A climate technology is any equipment, technique, practical knowledge, or skill needed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions or adapt to climate change. To determine climate technology priorities, countries undertake Technology Needs Assessment, or TNA. It supports national sustainable development, builds national capacity, and facilitates the implementation of prioritized climate technology. Indonesia published its first Technology Needs Assessment in 2012, and currently the government is in the process of updating it in consultation with stakeholders. Among the technologies discussed in the early process of updating Indonesia's Technology Needs Assessment are steam boiler and furnace for energy efficiency improvement, energy efficiency improvement in cooling system, electric vehicles, and lighting efficiency improvement. And of course, the digital revolution is very important. The World Economic Forum just published a report showing ways that existing digital technology, such as e-commerce and social media, can help the world halve the emissions in 12 years, based on climate action roadmap, of course. And businesses, as part of the non-state actors, have to be involved, of course, and they would be involved, and they're interested in being involved because of the economic opportunity. There is a study by the Allied Market Research that the global green technology and sustainability market generated $6.85 billion in 2018, and estimated to increase to $44.61 billion by 2026. Now, this market research concluded that based on technology, the Internet of Things, or the IoT segment, contributed to the largest share in 2018, accounting for more than 1/4 of the total share. And also, based on the application, what will be the largest share is the green building segment, holding around 1/5 of the total share in 2018. Now, the question is for us, the conference participants, how can we have at least a slice of the pie? How can we also get the benefit of this global green technology and sustainability market? There is a way. This is part of the Article 12 of Paris Agreement, as well as Article 6 of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The action for climate empowerment focuses on 6 priority areas, which have been recognized as crucial to counter climate change and adapt to its impacts. They're education, training, public awareness, public participation in decision-making, public access to information, and international cooperation. That's why this international conference can be means for this international cooperation. They're crucial to the global response to climate change. Everyone including the young generation, must understand and participate in the transition to a low-emission, climate-resilient world. What about the state of the Earth system? What's the situation right now? This is the latest report called United in Science, prepared by several organizations in the United Nations. What surprised me is the lockdown-related fall in emissions will not reduce carbon dioxide concentrations. So consumption pattern must change to support climate actions. And also the climate change impacts cascade from mountain peaks to ocean depth. This is a very dire situation, and we have to really work together to find the solutions, or at least know what to do to address this climate crisis. There is growing recognition that the recovery must be a pathway to a green and sustainable economy that produces jobs and prosperity, reduces emissions, and builds resilience. That's why, again, the Green Technology and Design Conference is very important. And to prevent the next pandemic, especially the zoonotic diseases, we have to know the drivers of the zoonotic pandemic's risk. So urbanization and industry, you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers of zoonotic pandemics that we have to address, especially the food supply chains and climate change. These are climate positive actions suggested by the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. We have to really look into green transition, investments especially, green jobs and sustainable and inclusive growth, green economy, investment in sustainable solutions. So fossil fuel subsidies, he suggested, must end and polluters must pay for their pollution. Also, we have to confront all climate risk. Again, the keyword of cooperation, no country can succeed alone. I would like to emphasize the importance of futurism or future studies, where we can see or we can work on scenario design or foresight thinking. It has been used in the business world for decades. It means thinking systematically about the future, drawing on scientific data, analyzing trends, imagining scenarios, both plausible and unlikely, and thinking creatively. What will be the future and how can we avoid the negative future? We all know that since the climate crisis is a global problem, to address it, we need global mobilization of resources by state actors, means countries, and non-state actors. We are the non-state actors. Businesses, cities, regions, and other subnational entities, civil society, indigenous people, women, youth, and academic institution, the host of this country, of this conference. They may act as individual entities or in partnership with other stakeholders. I'm almost to the last 3 of my slides, and this is an individual action that we can take. It's launched by the United Nations for individual action on climate change and sustainability. There is an app as well. I have downloaded the app, which is very nice. And there are 10 things that we could do to help address the climate crisis. It's very easy. Bring your own bag, refill and reuse, don't eat too much meat. Plant-based materials or plant-based meals is based to address the climate crisis. If you shower, just take 5 minutes, not half an hour shower. Don't use bathtub. Drive less, unplug, and there are 10 things that you could do. Please download the app. It's very, very interesting. In closing, please join those who are using their voices, their votes, and their choices to fight the climate crisis, because your world really depends on it. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank Ibu Amanda, for your comprehensive sharing about the current status of the climate crisis, the proposed solution, as well as the technology and our way forward to a better condition of the climate in the future. And I think the audience will have some question for you because of this interesting topic. The first one came from Pak Iwan Juwana, who already raised his hand. Please, Pak Iwan.
Yes, thank you, Pak Chandra and Ibu Amanda. It's very inspiring and interesting presentation that you have given us. I'm wondering, and I'm really interested in the slide when you share with us our country's commitment based on the 2015, the Paris Agreement, because I think that bring us as a global community to work together on the climate initiative. So whatever we do, I believe that to some extent we need to go back to the target or the commitment we have given at the global scale. So when we have the 41% emission reduction by 2030, I'm wondering if you have any information on what is our status now. Are we on the right track to achieve the 41% reduction by 2030? Or how far we are until we reach the 41%, because we already now in the first, what do you call it, one third of the target, 5 years. We still have 10 years, which is not far away to arrive. So just wondering what's our current reduction at the moment. Thank you, Ibu Amanda and Pak Chandra.
Should I respond now or wait for other questions?
Yes, please, Bu Amanda.
Okay, terima kasih. Thank you, Pak Iwan Juwana. The national focal point of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. The ministry is also the national focal point of the IPCC. So the national focal point regularly conducts public consultation as well as consultations with ministries and agencies on achieving the commitment. Last I heard, last year, the country has reached halfway of reaching our commitment. But of course, it is not the work of government institutions alone. That's why there are non-state actors, like I mentioned previously in my presentation, where non-state actors are also expected to contribute to the commitment. And there is a special platform for non-state actors at the UNFCCC platform, where non-state actors like businesses, universities, organizations can report on their activities and how they help reduce carbon emissions. So we are all optimistic, and we shouldn't leave the responsibility to the government only.
Sure. Thank you, Ibu Amanda.
Okay, thank you, Pak Iwan and Ibu Amanda, for your response. Okay, any other question from the floor? If you want to ask directly, please open your mic. Maybe some technical problem with raise hand button right now.
So I put the website, and especially for students in the UNFCCC or the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, there is the youth NGO constituent. They also have their social media, so you know how they do the procedure or how they are involved with the UNFCCC. And it's not always have to be in-person participation, because you can also do virtual activities, especially now during the pandemic.
Pak Chandra?
Yeah, Pak Iwan.
Or maybe while waiting for other question, can I a little bit elaborate further on my question earlier?
Yes, please, Pak Iwan.
Sure. Thank you, Pak Chandra. So, Ibu Amanda, also I'm wondering, because I'm interested in analyzing of the programs that we've been doing. I mean, all the initiatives by government or non-government, by anyone. And I'm interested to see which of the initiatives or which of the programs is contributing the most to the reduction. Has been there any study on that or a research on that? If no, then would it be possible for us from the university to
Iwan, sorry, you pressed the mute button.
Okay. Okay. I don't know how much I have said. Maybe I just repeat what I have said before. So, Ibu Amanda.
Yeah, please repeat, Pak Iwan. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So my question was, has there been any study or research on to analyze what is the contribution of the programs or the initiatives to the reduction of the emission in 2030? Because I think it's very important if we can see which programs is more contributing to the reduction and which one is not really contributing, whether it is from the government or non-government or from anyone. Because if we can see, we can prioritize which are the programs who contributes more to the reduction, then maybe we can spend more efforts or we can allocate more resources on those programs who has more contribution. So if that already been done, the study, if you can please share us what is the most program or initiative that contribute more to the reduction, or if not, is it possible for us from the university to conduct such studies? Of course, if you want to do the studies, then we need some information on how good one program is to the reduction of the emission. Hopefully that makes sense, Ibu Amanda and Pak Chandra.
Yes, I also put down the website of the Director General of Climate Change Control at the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, which is the national focal point for UNFCCC. Indonesia regularly reports its activities, and there is also the national communication on our efforts. It's all on the website of the UNFCCC. And there are also events other than the formal negotiation of the UNFCCC. There is the soft diplomacy of Indonesia, which is in the form of the Indonesia Pavilion at the United Nations Climate Change Conference. There usually state actors and non-state actors reveal their activities, their efforts, but I have yet to see a study or a document like you mentioned. You can get the information piece by piece from different institutions. Also, the National Development Planning Agency, Bappenas, is also working on the low carbon development initiative of Indonesia. It also has all kinds of documents. That's why I put the topics in my keynote so that you can really see where you can be involved or where the academic community could be involved, because you will see the technology needs and you will see the government's policy. Right now, our biggest emission comes from the forestry sector and the energy sector. That's why the concentration of emission reductions are in those two sectors. So please browse the website of the Dirjen PPI and also Bappenas, as well as the UNFCCC and the IPCC website. There you will see the opportunities as well as how you can be involved and what they are working on. I will leave my slides to Dr. Chandra, and you can see the assessment cycle of the IPCC. The IPCC has 3 working groups. As I mentioned earlier, there's the mitigation, adaptation, and there's also another working group. And we all can contribute, like in the climate change building that I posted before.
That's gonna be beautiful, Ibu Amanda. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will surely check the website and see what we can contribute as the academician. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Pak Iwan and Bu Amanda. Maybe another question from the floor.
Yeah, Pak Chandra.
Okay, Dr. Didin, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ibu Amanda Katili, PhD, for your very comprehensive presentation. A year ago, we heard the news from several colleagues at the IPCC that in the future, every country not only they are not only requested to report GHG's emissions to the UNFCCC, but also they need to include the emission estimates of the short-lived climate forcing pollutants, the SLCF actually. So it means that some of the air pollutants should be also quantified in the emission inventories to be conducted by country. We heard that the IPCC is still developing the methodology for this SLCF, but maybe you have direct access or news actually from the person there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The IPCC has an outreach and communication division. They even have to learn how to communicate with the general public. That's why they're very transparent and very open. If you go to the IPCC website, it has information on how you can work with the IPCC either as a reviewer of their report or as an author, if it's possible. Of course, they will look into your peer-reviewed scientific journals because they have a process. They have a 10 steps process to come up with the assessment report. And that's where you can find all the information, and they're all there. Also, one more thing. If you remember what I said, it is a government organizations. So the input will always come from the government, and the government will accept input from researchers, because I've been in the government for many, many years. And I see how universities, academicians, even students are always involved in the process. As long as you either keep in touch or communicate with the national focal point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pak Didin, for your question, and also Bu Amanda for the response. Maybe any other? We still have around 5 minutes left. If no, maybe from me, Bu Amanda, my question, your topic is also cover about the political issue on the climate. I just want to hear your opinion about the new president of the United States that previously quite against the scientific data and others, including the climate issue. Please, Bu Amanda, thanks.
That's why I mentioned about the political realm of the climate crisis. So the President-elect Biden has some climate plan already, even before he was elected. And right now he has an all-female communications team. So we are all happy with that. But the point is, everything has to be communicated. And John Kerry, the initiator of the World War Zero, is really an environmentalist. That's why he's been appointed as the President's Special Envoy on climate change. But they realized that no one country alone can really work on the climate issue. The point is, they have to work domestically as well as internationally. John Kerry would be able to do the international part of it because he's also a diplomat. He used to be the Secretary of State, and he has been put as a member of the National Security Council. So John Kerry has a cabinet level President Special Envoy, And then President-elect Biden will have to appoint one official for domestic purposes, but then they will work together to implement Biden's plan. So we all know that on day one, he will send notification to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change that the US, the United States, will get back to the Paris Agreement. And it will take a few weeks before they are already in the part of the Paris Agreement. Because right now they're out of it because of Trump before they can back to the Paris Agreement. And the important thing to know is the Paris Agreement is an effort by all countries. With the Kyoto Protocol, if you may remember the legal instrument before the Paris Agreement, the responsibility is on the developed countries. But right now, the developing countries also have the responsibility, but there is a principle of common but differentiated responsibilities.
Okay, thanks, Bu Amanda. It's quite promising, yeah, since the United States is one of the important player in the climate crisis. So Joe Biden maybe will give us the better condition in the future. Okay, I think the time is near to the end, and I cannot summarize all of your presentation, Bu Amanda, because very wide and very comprehensive. But yeah, it's our responsibility to contribute for the better condition of the climate in the future. Start from the small thing that we can do every day, yeah, by ourselves, and maybe we can impact the global condition after that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us to thanks to Ibu Amanda for the presentation, as well as the support from Climate Reality Project Indonesia to our second international conference, which cover many topics about the green technology and design, which of course very important to support the better condition in the future. Once again, thanks Ibu Amanda for your presentation, for your time, and for your support to us. Thank you. And back to Ibu Tuti. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much to Ms. Amanda and Mr. Chandra. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before we come to our main program parallel session, we are now in coffee break. Before that, I'd like to remind to all the participants that before we close the agenda tomorrow, we will give the prizes and awards to the best paper, presenter, participant, and the best selfie unique and lucky draw. Thank you. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Sampai jam 11 kurang 10 ya Pak ya.